stuff, so they couldn't join. But we have a history of recording, so we're able to kind of get our have the data to work with. And I presume,
yeah, all good on that side.
I presume Tom is joining back in a second. So welcome. We're a small little group now. I was hoping for a little bit more based on our replies, but there's always people falling off. So we can begin and we can start this session. And I think that's the information that you provide us and having the recording, Joachim, will provide a lot of value to the Nordic space of SSI as well. So that's also why I want to record and be able to have your conversation open. So basically, this is 27th October. We're going to try to build out a Nordic SI consortia. We have together with us today academia and also one of the leading identity aggregators in Norway. And Tom Høiberg, what was the company he was from again, Jon?
Finance Norway.
Yeah, Finance Norway, which is a very important organization when it comes to finances. Because in Norway, the identity solution that was created was initiated by the banks. So a lot of the identity that has been created today has come up from the banks. I do see that, Tom, you're on the wrong call. So if I can, Bjørn Helge and Tom, if you guys can join the other link I have in the chat, I can post it again.
Okay, depending on hvilket chat vi er i. Jeg tror det gikk bytterrommet.
Yeah, so I posted again. So Bjørn Helge again. Also, you can join us on the other side there.
Okay.
Perfect. And if you close the GC room, you don't have echo. I'll mute you just for now. Good. So I'm gonna do this. There we are. Yeah. So again, welcome. We're gonna have a short intro from Din why this meeting is important. Then we're gonna talk to Joachim. How do I pronounce the name? Lovkab?
Perfect.
Perfect. About the German ecosystem, which I very, very admire. I look up to. Then we're gonna have a short breakout brainstorming session to kind of figure out how we can go about it in Norway based on Joachim's introduction, and then a quick summary about what we kind of figure out and action points which Din can move onwards with and progress with going forward. So why do we need to do this now? Consortium is happening everywhere. We see that there's a lot of activity on this new wave of identity. Of course, we're in the EU, but there's still activity on the SSI standards and consortiums being created everywhere. We have Germany, which are very, very organized. We have Austria, we have Finland, and we have the USA, which has also organized themselves in a more, not consortia, but a more private perspective, but it's working a lot, working really well. And then you have New Zealand. One thing you really see with the trades here is that Germany, they have Yolocom, they have a couple other companies working on this SSI world. Austria have SSI companies that's come really far and part of the standards writers. Finland has Findi, which has come really far in terms of standardization, and also USA, which have a lot of SSI companies. So we kind of see that, and New Zealand has matter. So we see that the organizations are, or the consortia are being created where there are SSI companies being gathered. And they're kind of this is not the set that this is the only thing that exists. There are more, but this is what I've been able to kind of collect and continue over time. And this is why also the Nordics now, who are very comfortable in the identity space, need to begin, because we are cannot be lazy when everyone else is moving to a better world than us. So in Germany, you have two of the biggest consortia, which is ID Union and Ideal. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joachim, but I guess you will do a little bit more detailed intro on this. But you see, there's a lot of companies joining this. There are a lot of companies at stake here, and there are a lot of municipalities and government participating as well, because they have early on stated that they want this to work. So we in Norway, we are fighting an uphill battle because everyone's really happy with BankID. But we also see that since Signicar is here, they have seen that the identity future is something else. And we need to get there. Also, yeah, so we will have Joachim introduce more of these details for us, which I look forward to, and how they kind of got about managing to get to this place. And if maybe the conclusion today would be it's impossible in Norway because we are too comfortable as is, or what kind of pieces we need to put together. So after the introduction of Joachim, if we're more people, I'll share a link with you guys that you can go into your separate room, and then there will be some notes you will try to take down as a discussion. I think we break up into 3 and 3. And then, or if not enough people, we stay at this place. But then again, just I'll put some names under the groups you're going to be in, and then there's a random note taker for these 15 minutes. If the note taker cannot take notes, then just internally solve it, and then I'll come bring it back in when we're done. So I added a couple of questions that we can start to go through, but also based on Joachim's introduction, we can try to fill in any information we feel is important to highlight further on work for Din and other collaborators. So, Joachim, do you want to take over?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me here. I have a bit of an echo.
Yep.
Is it better now? Not really.
I'll mute myself. I think it's me.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay, hello. Yeah, now it's better. Awesome. Yeah, great to meet you, everyone. And thanks again for the invitation. And for me, I guess it's always excited if people are so interested in the topic of identity, because you're saying something, Snorre, but we cannot hear you. No.
The problem is I'm talking to other guys in that room trying to move them. So I'm sorry for confusing.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Yeah, so I'm always super excited if people are passionate about this topic, because it's very close to my heart. And I really believe that it's a very core element for how we organize ourselves as a global society in the future. And that's why we believe into an open infrastructure that everyone needs to participate. And I think that's like an important and relevant angle also for you. Snorre said, like, maybe you have an uphill battle, but again, this is not a national topic. This is also not an international topic, but this is a global topic. So I guess the vision is to strive for a global infrastructure. Let me go back, like, how this evolved in Germany. So back in 2014, 2015, I started some community events around decentralized technology here in Berlin. And that was also the time where the Ethereum core development team moved to Berlin. And, you know, just to name this one, there were just like a very few people, but there was some momentum that was created. And then later in 2016, also politics saw, okay, there's something going on. And they started to invite experts like me and many others into the different ministeria and to the Bundeskanzleramt, and wanted to learn about this technology. And since we're like, you know, in this small community back in 2016, even pretty much everyone was knowing everyone. And so we invited each other, and the ministeria were not very coordinated. And so we said, this is not sustainable. We are spending most of our time now talking to politicians and trying to educate them, and we really don't know what the other person says. So we said it's about time to organize ourselves in a better way. And so we started the German Bundesblock. So this is like a association. Back then it was mostly blockchain startups to create an open source platform where we all gathered information and put it into position papers and provided this to all political parties. And that is basically how we started a broader, you could say, education campaign, but really it was more than that, because it was about having a conversation and finding out how we can together discover the potential of decentralized technology, including blockchain, including self-sovereign identity. And these position papers, we published them in German and in English, and distributed them, and they went viral, and many people within Germany, but also Europe and beyond, found them very helpful. Yeah, then at the very beginning of this 2016, I also was in the Ministry for Economic Affairs in Berlin here. And the question was like, they wanted to understand what will be the legal impacts, what kind of laws should be passed to support the technology. And my take was really that we are way too early, and that we need to discover the technology together, really also from multiple stakeholders. And so I proposed a sandbox. So it's basically a lighthouse project with really organizations from very different areas, including academia, but really smaller startups with the blockchain expertise, to larger companies, to municipalities, public sector, etc. And make everything open source. So it's like kind of, I think one of the main driver here is that open source, it's like the accelerator, it's a catalyst, because when we share our learnings, everyone else can see, like, the mistake that we did and the progress that we made. And this helped actually, I think, the public sector to also say that they put a significant amount into this lighthouse project. to discover secure digital identities, because it will be open source. So it will be not an investment into one company. It will be an investment into an open source infrastructure that will be there for society, if you will. So, but then again, this takes a lot of time within the ministeria, and to get like the right process. We had workshops with many stakeholders from the public sector to basically define how the Lighthouse project should look like. And then there were different stages where consortia could apply, first in the competition phase, and now we are in an implementation phase. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I share here a few links. There's like two organizations. The Bundesblock is the German Blockchain Association. INATBA is the European version of this that was initiated by us a little bit later. And then there's like a small video, if you like, you can have a look there. It tells a little bit more about the German consortia that have been selected in the final round. I guess later last year, it was a big surprise that in the end, there were only consortia selected that would utilize SSI technology, because in the previous round, there were like 11 consortia in the competition, and only half of them were utilizing SSI technology. But the evaluation and the political consideration actually resulted in we see the future of identity in SSI. Yeah, and that's kind of the story in a nutshell. I think I would stop for a moment here to also open up for questions. And I'm happy to give more details.
Yeah, I wonder what do you think have been one of the key factors for that went viral? Like, what was a factor that this was kind of something needed? Is it because you guys don't have a true solid digital identity across the whole country, or what do you think?
So I think it was not so much about the solution itself, but it was more about the approach, how we went about it. So this openness, the transparency, not necessarily saying we know everything, but say like, yeah, we know a few things, but we need to learn so much more. And it's better to learn this all together. Also in politics, I think it's very important not to take sides. So the information that we gathered in the position paper, we really made sure that we passed this on to the digital politicians of each party. So everyone was informed equally. And so we somehow managed to not become like, the technology for one party, and then other parties would oppose it. So it was always, I think, one of our goals to communicate it, that this technology is so important that it's highly relevant for society in large. And so we need also address it in such way. So basically beyond party politics. And that went almost well. I don't know, you heard probably the ID wallet debacle, so not everything is sunshine here. But that was the only kind of end spurt where some party tried to reap some benefit, you could say, but I think in general it's on a very good path.
So this position paper, it was written by enthusiasts like you, or how many people were you kind of part of writing?
So we did this Bundesblock paper, actually, we started it out with in the working group of the Bundesblock, but then we said this is not enough. So we reached out to people like Christopher Allen, Reuven Heck, Manu Sporny, and many, many more. So everyone we knew basically in the Elizabeth Rainieris, everyone we knew in the identity space to review it. And the goal here was to come to, back then, the best possible consensus of all, of this whole group, basically. So it was done and kind of choreographed in a way by Bundesblock, but actually it was, I would not say a global community, because still we would lack contributors from some parts of the world, but it was a pretty good selection of experts that we had access to back then.
Sounds like you guys were very early on taking the approach that Din is doing right now, like 7 years later. And
well, the good thing is you can do it now much faster than me.
Absolutely. Because one thing that Din has done is to work with academia and try to deliver research papers. One that was not approved last year, but this year we are quite positive. We don't know yet. We'll see in end of this year, and that's also where Jona Ödnes is part of that paper. But I think also that there might have to be more efforts pushing the politicians, but I don't know that game. That's so it's like, how did you guys get? Did you guys have contacts, or did you guys just kind of go hope for luck when you guys sent out these papers in their direction, or did you guys know how that worked?
So actually, it was some dynamic that organically unfolded. So I know there was a friend of mine, her, I think, cousin was somewhere in the ministry, and people in the ministry were asking her if she would know people from the community, from the blockchain community, because people in the ministry wanted to learn about the technology. And that was like, one part where it started. But then I guess, like, for instance, people from the Green Party, they would go to meetups. So there was a genuine interest. And I think that that's very important, a success factor, that for some reason there were people that were intrinsically deeply interested in the topic. And so they were self-motivated, coming out of their ministry or, wherever they are in the area. And over the years, we found that this is the type of people that really can make a change. Because from the outside, to go, I don't know, to a ministry and find the right person, it's like the needle in the haystack thing. But if there's like some movement and some interest, people actually will approach you. And I guess later on, it was just making the visibility with the position papers, etc. So if someone was interested or hearing about blockchain, then they would stumble upon us automatically. Maybe not on the first click, but maybe on the second or third click. And and then for the Bundesblock itself, we were a complete, we were coming out of nothing. No one had like experience how to deal with politicians. But there was one person from one political party who said like, yeah, I would like to support you. And then I had concerns that we would go into the one-party direction. And so he had a very good idea. And he said, yeah, let's make it a political advisory board and invite digital politicians of each party into this board. And so we didn't even need to do a lot of advertising or whatever. We gave them the papers and they took it into their parties to the relevant people. And that was very, very efficient.
Very interesting. It's a great journey you guys have been on. Do you feel that the current EU wallet initiatives are helping or setting a blocker for what you truly want?
I mean, in general, that the topic is taken on is obviously awesome. The direction it will take is something that needs to be discussed and hopefully shaped in a way that you know, it's in the best possible way what we can achieve with an open standard. But yeah, I think there will be a lot of discussions. There will be a lot of veto. I mean, like Apple, Google, Mozilla, they have all, you know, their own stakes in this, and they might be not super excited, neither about the European wallet nor about, in general, open standards. So, but then again, you could argue that if a US consortia are complaining to the European Union, it might be not so super relevant. But you never know, right? So
yeah. You seem to have a question burning. You were unmuting yourself.
No, it's just that I think from a Norwegian perspective, I think the EU wallet initiative makes it easier to get attention at government level because it's on the agenda now. We see a lot of stuff happening, lots of discussions going on. So that's good. That's a good starting point, actually. I believe there is stuff happening in the Norwegian public sector here, like the Brønnøysund Register Center, who runs most of the register infrastructure for Norway. They're into doing something, and you could get the ball rolling there. Agency of Digitalization would clearly be interested. So yeah, I think it's possible. Also, Norway is smaller than Germany and a bit more transparent, I think.
Yeah, so, for sure.
We have, like, I think Din has been able to get their toes dipped in some of these places, but there's also been comments that the actual work happening at Brønnøysund, who's also working with the digital wallet, is very black boxy. It's difficult even for colleagues to understand what's happening. So it comes back to if you want exponential takeoff here, you need to be open source and super transparent. And how to be able to do that,
yeah. What goes on in Brønnøysund, I think, is mostly related to verifiable attributes out of the registers. So not per se a wallet, but something that can be used by wallet or SSI or an SSI approach, and yeah. So that's also a reasonably good starting point for trying something out. If you got credentials available that you can demonstrate then how you can reuse them under user control, for example.
Yeah. There has been a very high-level agreement between Finland and Germany as well. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
I did link that into the deck, which will. So I think I've seen it, and it's about finding that one right person, I guess, to kind of get some real attention. So I just want to try out this real quick. If there's not any more questions immediately for Joachim, I think that we can split up into groups to kind of just try to answer the questions we have noted down.
So before I forget, you might want to reach out to Daniel Deseuil. Are you familiar with him?
What's the last name? Daniel?
Daniel Deseuil.
I don't know him.
So he is, let me quickly find his link. He's the convener of the EPSI-ESIF effort of the European Union. And so he has a very good visibility when it comes to self-sovereign identity for politicians all over, I would say.
Mm.
And so he might be a good person to talk to, definitely. Just
Yep.
let me. Where was it?
That'd be great. I'll reach out definitely. If you guys can, the others can find your. I think that you and Joachim might have to change room based on what I put up.
Okay.
And then thank you. And I'll come pick you guys back up after you have about 15 minutes.
Where
Cool.
do you have the rooms now?
So if you click the docs link, document, docs.google.
Yeah, the one you posted now in the chat.
Yeah, above the LinkedIn. And then you have the DIN room 2, which is Joachim, Jon, and Nils Inge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think Nils Inge left for already. So you guys just jump over there, and Abele and Bjørn Helge and I stay here to look at the docs. I can.
Okay. And we close this one, right?
Yeah, this one stays open just for our discussion, and you come back here when I come fetch you guys.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
There we are.
Have you guys moved, or then are we gonna move? I think.
I thought I'd moved.
I think we're still in the same room.
Yeah. I think I need to close this because otherwise my computer is too slow.
Yeah, so just close. You guys can close this tab. That's fine. You guys just jump over, and I'll come fetch you when you guys come back.
You'll fetch us. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Abele and Bjørn Helge and I stay here.
Okay, so let's see. I thought I was here. There I am. Yeah, there I am. Okay. So good.
I'll kick you out to the Gmail group. So guys, what do we do? How do we get going? Have you guys seen the group notes?
Yeah, there are some questions, yeah, so we can discuss them.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we can briefly introduce ourselves, and then also I can volunteer to write notes if you wish.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so my name's Abele. I'm from NTNU, so Public University. I'm representing Decentralized Systems Lab. We have a lab here in Computer Science Department, and today I will be representing our lab, and we are closely working with Dean and Snorre. We have some research proposals ongoing, and also some students, like small projects, let's say, yeah, or related to SSI.
Perfect. Good idea.
Yeah, Bjørn Helge Lervåg. I've been following this domain for quite a few years. I started a project 12 years ago, way ahead the self-sovereign identity domain. However, I was working with with an idea of a platform for communication between citizens and the communal and official governments.
seen from the citizen's perspective. So later on in this work, I was introduced to one of my missing pieces, which could be the self-sovereign identity. And that's basically why I've been following on this. I think that a lot of the things that we've been working and talking about at earlier stages are still as relevant now today, because the turn and the understanding of the domain we're talking here has still not met us. So I've been following Joachim as well. I actually had an agreement with him about a meeting on the Future Fest in Oslo some years ago. So it's nice to see that he's involved here. So I think it's a good thing that they've gotten so far in Germany. So if there is something that could be learned of the methodology and the way that they've done things, then it's great. But still, there's a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, it's fascinating that they started in 2014 and then now kind of they've been starting to reap the benefits a couple of years ago. It takes time. It's a marathon, right? I don't think I have to introduce myself. I think both of you guys know me, and whoever watches the recording also will know that I'm from Din and also Diwala. So I think we're gonna start just kind of getting some notes down. So if you take the first question, like what would be kind of critical for this organization is critical for this consortia? Like who would be tipping the point? I feel that Signicat is a very important player here, which we already kind of they are part of it, and the new is a very important player, academia. I think VIPS is an important player, but they have so far declined our approach. How about you guys? Do you guys know about anyone? Like the Germans had like Bosch and a lot of companies. Digdir, of course, would be important, but those are the already existing companies we're talking to. So, you guys have any ideas at the top of the mind?
Yeah, I don't have exact company names, unfortunately, but yeah, I think everyone who is interested in SSI or like future identity systems, we can, I think, involve them.
Yeah. Because if you look past the identity system and look, I have problems with making sure that my users are able to get their data or move efficiently in the digital ecosystem. Who can be important? Like we can put down DNB as a bank, right? We don't have to look directly at identity systems. We can look at users who will benefit from this.
Yeah, in Nordics, I mean, banks are they represent a crucial role, and I mean, they are the issues of a bank ID. So yeah, definitely, they should be involved.
Yeah, they can put down DNB as well. They're early on. Bjørn Helge, any thoughts?
I had a statement yesterday on the Slack channel of this group.
Yeah.
My approach towards this is that people are trying to solve all kind of challenges with the tools that they have available by today. And since the knowledge about self-sovereign identity and the possibilities and the outcomes are perhaps not good enough communicated, then it's hard to change ongoing processes towards something that is new.
Yeah.
So the benefits would be, with the project I was involved in, I would say that every municipality in Norway would have a benefit of trying to understand some of this.
So we could take down, put down municipalities, and then we can take it from there.
But then again, we have to understand that there are a lot of solutions that are created for municipalities and for the municipality institutions, and those are handled by the great large consultancy houses. So this is, I don't know if they see this as a threat towards their business today, or if they also would see this as an opportunity.
No, I left Beck because they didn't see blockchain as a possibility. I think they are unfortunate now. But it's about, you have to think new, because at some point the pressure will push an arrow in the right direction. It just depends on time. If the whole world does SSI and Norway and Sweden and Denmark doesn't, we become like Africa, right? We need to move with the wave, and we have the money and people and the minds to do that, right? So
yeah, but the existing business models are present without the SSI today, so they still create the solutions as they do. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, it for typical companies, it could be hard to change their ways of working to SSI, because it's expensive. It's I mean, they don't have knowledge yet, and maybe they don't even believe it yet. But I think we can involve, from Germany's experience, we can see that the most part of their core was like blockchain companies who knew a little bit about the subject, and also some big companies who could allocate some of their, I mean, who has some research facilities and who can allocate their some portion of people and resources to new directions. So I think just normal companies will not be interested, because they need to profit and they need to look into the near future. But the big companies with some research resources and also some blockchain projects could be involved, and also from a government, of course, they could be interested, because they have everything. They have funding from government, so government agencies could be interested, I think.
yeah. So maybe basically consultancy that has a foot in a lot of places can be, they're big, they earn a lot of money. Is maybe an important player. We do have Kjetil with us, but with the Crayon, but he's still overworked in a lot of his projects. So we can have some of those. And I also want to put down, before we move on to the next question, where did I go? Yes. Yeah, I'll put that down afterwards. But some of their contact persons in the 7 life actions that can be approached. So we can work on that as well.
we also have we had an idea for an initiative that has not been prioritized good enough, but that was towards the what's it called, the United Nations Future Lab. Is that the correct name? Which is located in Ålesund, just to try and present a kind of a thought experiment, a proof of concept on how things could be.
Yeah, and that comes down to the same like position paper, right?
But that is and in collaboration with the other Kjetil with the Boulder company.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends if if we are able to create solutions that people believe in, then this will be some kind of, I presume it will be some kind of catch-up effect. That is the
So I don't think like you don't need code to make sure that people believe in it. But you need tell the story enough so that there's funding to provide that code.
Okay.
You don't need a specific thing to be able to have people with enough power to fund this. That's what we're doing with the research paper, right? We need to tell the story correctly so they want to fund this experiment. But we can potentially go and tell the story other directions. So they want to make sure that, okay, we have the 7 life events, for example. We have some spare budget. Let's kind of see if this group can move faster than all of these other 7 things because they work on a thing that's above or infrastructural to all this different tools. So that kind of brings up to the next one, like any idea where to start financing this from a Nordic perspective. Like we have academia papers and calls, which are funded.
Yeah, which are funded by Research Council of Norway. Yeah.
Do you know anything else? Like, of course, it can be private. I don't know, private funding from big companies. Very vague, not super direct.
So in case of Germany, they got funding from government, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But to reach that point, I think it could be a bit. It could take time, yeah, for Norway.
Absolutely. But it can go faster now with the right incentives. But as long as people dare to open up and not just be like, oh, we're Digdir, we're going to hold this for ourselves, or hey, we are this consultancy company and we're not going to work with anyone else because we want to solve this problem. Hey, Joachim.
Hello. So we decided to come back. I'm not sure if that was the right decision.
No, that's fine. We can hear for what you guys decide or figure out on, and then we can end this on time. So I can tell. Did you guys decide all to come, or did you just jump?
No, we decided both to jump over.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe
he doesn't have a link, or he didn't say.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he doesn't have the link, but I posted it just in case in the again.
Yeah, there's no one in there, so I guess they have progressed. But in the meantime, we can, since we're recording this, we can kind of talk a little bit about what we discussed. We kind of listed up a lot of the critical consortia, but it also are critical organizations, but they are already folks that we're in contact with. We weren't able to really tag some unknown factor right now, except for maybe try to do the banks or try to do more consultancy companies that can trigger on this. And of course, it's the government path, but it's a big and scary one that I guess we have to try to get to. But we having Signicat with us is a very important factor because they are being trusted among the Norwegian and Nordic identity crowd. And in terms of funding, we kind of have gone to academia paper and calls, which are funded by Research Council direction right now. We can building a bigger consortia can do private funding by actors who see this as important, such as banks, syndicat or consultancy companies. And then also tap into government funding is a possibility now that we have this 7 live events going on in Norway, which is a digitalization proposal, which SSI, I truly believe SSI could help a lot. Building that core infrastructure instead of having 7 different tools that tries to solve a specific event, which brings us back to the SVIP direction, having that journey of one person and a lot of tools and companies interacting. So that's basically how far we got. Do you guys have any specific breakthrough ideas or thoughts from your group, Joachim?
No, not really. I think we got a little bit sidetracked also, but in general, what could be interesting for you to have Signicat on board. So they are also a partner in one of the German consortia. So that could be kind of a link to also connect at the project. If something gets started in Norway, so there is already one company as a partner, and obviously we would be also happy to help you to meet folks and see how, once you get a little bit more concrete what you want to do, we can make introductions. And even now, like, with Daniel Dessoy, etc., I'm sure he is very open to have a chat and see how he can help.
I'll absolutely contact him and see how this can move forward, because there's the Nordics have been known as leading in identity space, because you even have been announcing them as the Nordic model. It's been around in the SI community. I don't know if it was you guys or someone else, but there exists a Nordic identity model, which is kind of what they have built up, and then it's about being able to build on top of that and move forwards to the new direction.
Do you have one? Joachim, hi. Björn Helge.
Hi.
Here. Hi. Didn't you participate in some large city? Was it? I don't know if it was the Netherlands or where they had made a digital copy of the city, and they used.
Yeah, that was Belgium, Antwerp.
Belgium.
And that was actually back then. Daniel Dessoy was one of the people initiating this project, but then he moved to the European Union as a EPSI position as a convener.
But I stumbled upon, and there was actually some people from the Antwerpen or from this project that had a conference in Oslo at the same time as Digdir presented Norway as a service. So obviously this is something that is proven and it's done, and it has to do with municipalities versus citizens. So I think that could be it's definitely a good project to reference to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think you're on mute, Snorre.
I have to apologize because I need to run.
Yeah, I was gonna break up the meeting now, so I'm just gonna say thanks a lot, and I will try to continue the discussions going forward, and I will reach out to you if there's anything, Joachim. But it's inspirational to see what you guys have been able to get done. And
thanks. Now we have a lot of work, and we need to get it done.
I hope we can tell this story further and get the Nordics on up and running as well.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
And, always happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow, right, Abilene?
Yeah, we have meeting at 10:30, I think.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then it's just about to we gotta execute on this somehow. I want to get one project person who's a lobbyist and can take on the government. We'll figure out how to do that. I'll stop the recording now so I don't say anything stupid.